A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and welcome to another of our Runner Stories podcasts. And today I'm joined by Clare from Shrewsbury, or Shrewsbury, however you prefer to say it, in glorious Shropshire. And we are talking about fundraising early. So many of you will have grabbed yourself a charity entry in an event like a London Marathon entry. And some of those fundraising targets can be quite steep and can play on your mind, obviously, for quite some time until you tick it off. Not Clare. Clare is running for scoliosis support and research in the London Marathon next year. And rather than wait and worry about fundraising next year, she's done it. She's beaten her target already, which is unbelievable. Very rare. And Clare is going to share her secrets as to how she managed that. Welcome, Clare. What's your motivation for running next year's marathon?
It's all about supporting people with scoliosis. And I'm highly motivated by my daughter having scoliosis. And for those of you that don't know, that is curvature of the spine. And my daughter is an athlete. And she's run for GB under 18, under 20, proud mother. And she's now at Duke University in the US pursuing her running dream. So I feel that she's inspired me. She's never complained. She's played lacrosse also for Wales. So we're farmers. My husband is. So she's farmed, been outdoors, and she just gets on with it. And I feel if I can do my little bit to support her and other people with the condition, that's the least I can do. And hopefully I'll inspire her back a little.
Sure you will, with the amount you've raised already. Goodness. What's your running background? Have you done half marathons before?
Yeah, I love running. I've run all my life. Unfortunately, probably not as fast as my daughter ran the track. But I've run since school, and I was a lacrosse player when I was younger. So that's a lot of running. And I've had the discipline of running pretty much daily, apart from when I wasn't allowed in 2 pregnancies, since school all my life. And I run for fun. I love it. I don't wear a watch. I don't time myself. It's my escape. It's my freedom. And for me, that's how I'm going to train as well. I'm still not wearing a watch. I just go out on my feet and I enjoy running. So it's a very important part of who I am. And I've done a few half marathons, a few 10Ks. I've never run a marathon. This is my first marathon. So yes, it's a challenge. It's a bucket list challenge.
Yeah, and London you've chosen specifically because it is almost the ultimate UK bucket list challenge.
Well, go in at the top. Actually, that is down to my friend, great friend Sarah Hopkins, who I always said I wouldn't run the marathon. I said I'm too old, and I didn't want to get injured because I love running so much that I didn't want to not be able to run. Sarah's husband is very unwell at the moment, and I think we're looking for real motivation for the year ahead. And we're great friends, and we support each other. And she managed to get a place with the local hospice, but didn't want to do it without me. Seven Hospice, who've been brilliantly supportive with her parents. And so I said, right, well, I'm going to have to get a spot with some charity so that we can train and motivate each other and do this together. So it's very much together, and it has been very much inspired by Sarah. So hopefully both of us will raise money now for our chosen charities and have a lot of fun along the way.
Yeah, it's great that you're doing it together. I mean, it's virtually impossible, as you know, to get an entry through the ballot these days, but it's also very tough to get an entry through a charity as well. So it's not a given like it was a few years ago. So the fact that you've managed to get an entry together is really good. Now, obviously, one of the challenges of running on a guaranteed entry from a charity is the amount of the pledge, the amount of money that you have to raise, and this can vary quite significantly. Um, it does cause people some concerns, particularly when they first get started, and can linger throughout your training, particularly when you sort of hit March time and you've not raised what you need. It can be a real worry. But for you, obviously, it's not remotely a concern anymore. The fact you've raised nearly £3,500 already is quite remarkable. So the obvious question is, how on earth have you done it, and how on earth have you done it so quickly?
We run businesses. And so our first mission before we got heavily into training was let's raise that money because then we can enjoy the training without it hanging over us. And the way we felt that we do that was really go for one big event at the beginning and see how much we could raise. And then we'd know that what was left, we'd have to, make up with Just Giving or other small things, but we'd know what we were left with. So that's what we did. I think we got our spots whenever it was in July, and we straight away organised an event for the first week in August. So we moved at speed, and I'm a business coach, but previously ran a marketing business, so running sorting events, I probably have a bit of an advantage, and I love entertaining, and it's something I like doing. And Sarah does executive recruitment and career coaching. So we're both very organised women, which probably helps. So we did it together, no committee, no other support. And we tapped into a lot of local business contacts in Shropshire who were phenomenal. They lent us glasses, tables, did catering for reduced costs. People were amazingly supportive that either know Iris or know us. It's when you're glad you've helped people in the past. Um, and we decided we'd do it in August because Sarah has a lovely garden, and we basically reached out then to our friends, family, my parents' friends, and we managed to pull together, I think, just over 100 people to come to this event. In Sarah's garden, we did bubbly and canapes, and my son and a lovely, friend's child, of Sarah's, they ran the bar, and so I think charmed all the ladies and sold the bottles of bubbles, and, we kept it really simple, just bottles of bubbles and, soft drinks, canapes. I went knocking on the door of local businesses, and Sarah has some stables which were cleaned out, cleaner than my house, and we had fabulous support of some local, ladies' clothes retailers, my friend who's an artist, a lady who makes hats, who were amazing because they came, gave their time, and they said they donate 10% of their takings to the charity. And obviously it was a bit of a pump for them, but they managed to take a decent amount of money on the evening. And then we did a raffle and a silent auction. And we had such generous gifts from my clients, restaurant vouchers, we had jewelry. One of my best friends kindly, their family have a house in the lakes. So we managed to raise a lot of money on the tickets because I think we did £25 a ticket for one drink and the canapes. Then people bought drink, and then everything else, our costs were so low because people were so generous in donating everything that we had to hire. We made money from the retailers, and then we had some lovely family friends of Sarah's, some young children went around selling raffle tickets, and I think they were very cute and lovely, and that helped. And on the night, my daughter Iris did a speech about scoliosis. Sarah did a speech about the Seven Hospice, and I thanked people. So we had immense support, and that evening itself raised just under £5,000, which Sarah and I then split between the two charities. And then everything else I've raised has been through Just Giving by telling everyone what I'm doing and people being incredibly kind. And we've obviously thanked everyone that helped us on LinkedIn and social media. So we reached out, we asked, we couldn't believe we were overwhelmed with the support and what we made in one night. So I hope that inspires a few people to do something similar. So a long spiel, but it was to give people an idea of what we did.
It's very interesting because I think there's a perception. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and there's a perception that putting on an event can be majorly time consuming and not necessarily deliver a huge amount. I had some examples last year where people put on nights with bands and singers and all that kind of stuff. And And yes, it raised money, but ultimately, if you are paying a significant amount for a band or a singer to turn up, then obviously that then comes out of your profits. The fact you didn't have a band or a singer to worry about, I think is really, really important.
So we were overwhelmed with what we made. The risks were low, which was important, and that takes the stress out of it as well.
Well, that's right, because the lady that put on one of these functions with the band immediately before she'd even started, I have to sell X amount of tickets to cover the cost of the band. So you're immediately under some kind of pressure, which you don't want to be, obviously.
What we did do, which I think is a top tip as well, I invested in a couple of pay terminals, which, the handheld
Yeah.
card terminals, which I think for 2 of them were like £45 or something. My son set them up for me, and then he had one at the bar, and we had one with the raffle tickets as well going round, because we just thought however much you ask, people won't bring cash, and they won't bring enough cash, and if you can get a card payment, so we're really pleased we did that. So that was really important.
It's essential to have card readers, and there's so much tech out there now that charities are also able to have stickers with QR codes on and stuff. And there's a whole multitude of things. So I think if anyone's putting on an event, it's really important to liaise with their charity and see how they can support them, because there is tech available that does make a massive difference. I think one of the benefits for you of going so early with this is that you had chance to do a summer function.
That was really important because Sarah's garden, she said, if we do it, now we can do it and enjoy it. And I think, that was really important to, I think when you've got your spot, just get going.
Mm.
And I think the little things, like I said, the payment terminal. I think the other thing I'd say is we asked a couple of local businesses, an accountancy firm and a financial sort of wealth management firm who I've done work with. And we asked, they both sponsored £250, and that was £500, which helped pay, sort of covered the canapes and things. And if you only ask for a couple of £100 or something, rather than go looking for big sponsors, all those little things, it's not a big deal that they've got to get through a budget somewhere. And I think that, don't be frightened to ask, but don't turn it into too big a complicated sponsorship package. We definitely benefited from that, and people were really kind. People didn't hesitate to say yes. So I'm very, very grateful. And the other thing is we thanked everyone on LinkedIn. We actually had a photographer on the night, who was a friend of Sarah's, kindly took proper photographs. So we then gave businesses afterwards the photographs so that they could put it out on their social media. So then we got some awareness, but also they didn't just give us the stuff and that was it. If it was product or money or sponsorship, we tried to make sure they then got a benefit from it as well as us raising awareness.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, just give our listeners an idea of how much work this actually was. I mean, you said you got your spot and then you were straight on with planning the event. How much time would you say it took? Because obviously people will be sort of concerned, oh gosh, that sounds, I mean, it's not complicated, obviously, because it was done fairly quickly and with minimal cost. But how long would you say it took, and what were the benefits of doing it with another person?
Absolutely crucial to do it with another person. I think it then makes it fun. And we're good at different things. Sarah had the venue. I mean, her home garden looked amazing, and that was fantastic. So that was a real benefit, and obviously then no cost. So her focus was on that. My focus was on knocking on doors of sponsors, gifts. I think the important thing is we didn't have a committee. There were two people, great communication between us, lots on WhatsApp. We're great friends, we're both very organised, and we split the duties. We just sat down together after a run at my house. We sat down and we worked out who's doing what, and we cracked on. And I have to say that, I mean, it may be daunting if people haven't done it before. And I know organising events for me is my background. So might be slightly easier, but not a lot of time. I don't know, between us, we were doing it in amongst everything else, but a few days. I
Mm.
think if you keep it simple and you don't get lots of people involved and you split the duties based on your strengths, you can make something happen fairly effectively. Just don't be overwhelmed by it.
So from the point of deciding to do it, how long was it before you actually then did it?
Well, we decided to do it, and the event was, I think, 5 weeks later.
5
So
weeks.
we
Wow.
yeah, we literally I can't remember when we got our spots, but it must have been early July, and the event was, I think, the 7th of August. I mean, we
Wow.
said, "Right, we're gonna do it." And also then I think people committed straight away to a ticket rather than, "I might be free, I might
Mm.
not be free." They they're free or not, they knew it was quite risky in August. But what was lovely as well, Tim, is people who couldn't come still paid for a ticket, and that was really kind. A lot of people said, "I can't come, but I'll pay for the ticket, I'll contribute, or I'll buy a raffle ticket." We said to people, "If you can't come and you want to buy a raffle ticket in advance, we'll organise that, and we'll just make sure that we've sorted it." We also did a goodie bag to go away with. One of the local businesses, Flower and White, have lovely sort of cloth, bright pink goodie bags for them. They do meringues and various other lovely sweet treats. They gave us 100 of these bags, and then we said to everyone that was involved if they wanted to put a leaflet in, or they wanted to put an offer in, or a goodie, like the caterers put some fudge in with their details on, and we made sure that everyone left with a goodie bag as well. So we really thought about giving everyone that helped us something back, as well as the people that came really feeling they had good value for their £25, but that didn't cost us too much.
I presume you're of a mindset that this isn't going to stop. You're not going to put another event on, presumably, but your fundraising's not going to stop. What's without sort of committing you? What do you think you'll be able to raise, given how much you've already raised?
We're not doing another event. We feel we've done our bit now. But I think I've raised just via the Just Giving site, probably about 7 or 800 pounds, which is added to the um nearly 2.5 grand. That's why we're where we are. And I'm just telling everybody that I meet. I was at an event last night and the guy next to me, I was telling him and he said, "Send me a link." I think now it'll be more low key, but there's no one who escapes my company without being told I'm doing the marathon. So I'm firmly committing myself to doing it. But people are so kind. I was with an auntie this weekend. She's just donated £100. Clients have been donating through my business very kindly. So I'm just telling everyone, and every £20 here, £10 there, all keeps adding to that total. And I'd like to think I might get to 4 grand. My aim is they're a small charity, and a few £1,000s makes such a difference, and that's a real driver for me, as well as getting round too. So I will keep going till April the 26th.
Yeah, I think you'll very comfortably get to 4 grand, and I think you'll get well in excess of that. And obviously, the busy period is the 3 or 4 days before the marathon and a couple of days afterwards, where a huge percentage of people's donations come in during that period. So,
Oh,
I'd
really?
yeah, I'd stick my neck out and say you'll probably do about 5.5 to 6, given what
Oh
you've
gosh,
done
Tim, you
so
have to
far.
invite me back on
Oh,
and
I
see if
will
I've
be.
done it.
I will be. I will definitely want to do another podcast with you to find out what an amazing day you had and to talk about your fundraising, which I mean, last year the best we got was someone got 4,500, which was fantastic. And it was interesting that that was driven around an event as well, not a physical. He did a raffle. He was a barber, and he had a QR code in his barbers, and a whole load of raffle prizes. And it was this point about giving something back. People were very happy to
Yeah.
buy a raffle ticket and hoping they might get something. But I think that is so important. Just very quickly, how many businesses do you think you had involved in the M one way or the other, either by sponsorship or donating a raffle prize or an auction prize?
Oh, goodness me, I should think between me and Sarah, we might have had 20, 25 different businesses involved. We did tap into contact, and people were just so kind, and I can't thank them enough for what they did. But I think my big emphasis, Tim, with all of this is do it with a friend if you can. And even if it's someone who isn't running the marathon, if you've got a friend that will help you, if you're not as lucky as Sarah and I are to be a sort of duo running the marathon, I feel like the whole journey for us of getting this place, raising the money, doing some training together, and really motivating each other. I'm going to remember this period of our lives, and I just hope we both stay healthy and not injured to do it, because we're doing some training runs. Like, we booked on a 20-miler in February, and we're doing, I think we're doing a 5K park run, a short one next week. We're trying to do some little events together as well, and just make it a fun experience too.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about your running training, but it sounds like you've got that absolutely covered. Have you got any other events scheduled in? Any half marathons scheduled in as well? Or are you just focusing on the 20-miler?
No, I did. Well, I did the Shrewsbury half marathon, I think about a month ago. Um, when Sarah's just done one out she was with some friends out in Saint-Tropez and did a 11-miler there. That's much more glamorous than Shrewsbury. But yeah, I've got that, and we want to do this 20-miler. We're doing Cannock Chase just so that we know we can run that. And I think actually Sarah's doing one at Christmas, but my children are back from university in the US, so I'm not committing to anything while they're home. I'll be running with my daughter, who will be telling me that I've got to fuel, I've got to take advice from her UK coach, Colin, and I can't just run it like you can a half marathon. So I'm getting plenty of lecturing from my daughter on doing it properly.
Good, good. Look, I'm the guys at Scoliosis Support and Research, and I'm sure the guys at Seven Hospice are incredibly grateful for everything you've done so far. And you are absolutely the model fundraiser and the model runner by the sounds of it. You're doing an incredible job. And I know that Will at Scoliosis Support and Research is certainly going to be using this podcast to inspire his other fundraisers. So thank you for everything you've done. And good luck with the running training, although I don't think you're going to need it. It sounds like you're well on track.
Well, thanks for inviting me on, Tim, and thanks to Will at Scoliosis for giving me a spot, because I wouldn't be here doing this if I hadn't been given the spot. So I definitely want to make the most of it, because it's important that we do our best for charities when we take this on. So thank you very much, Tim.
There's learnings to take from that session, and they're multiple. One of them, of course, is keeping it simple. Don't overcomplicate your event. That's really important. You can see Claire's theme was, it's a summer garden party, nice and simple, and she delivered on it. Keep your costs low. And we mentioned in that session about hiring bands or singers. And sometimes, think, yeah, I really need to do that. Do you know anybody that could do you a proper deal? Or do you really need one? Or if it looks like that's going to be a really expensive option, then think of another event. Work with a partner. That person might not be running the event, but they just might want to get involved. They might love organising events. So it's really, really good to work with someone else there and get it done quickly. So, look, she's not going to have to worry about any fundraising now. She can talk to people, obviously, get them to donate on a Just Giving page, but she can do that knowing she's already £1,000 over her fundraising target, which is unreal. So get it done early and then focus on your training. Thanks for joining me on this podcast, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Hi, Will here from Scoliosis Support and Research. If you're looking for a great cause to run for, we'd love to have you on board. Drop me a message at fundraising@ssr.org.uk. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.